If you're shopping while working, eating, or even listening to this podcast, then you know and love the thrill of a deal. But are you getting the deal and cash back? Rakuten shoppers do. They get the brands they love, savings, and cash back. And you can get it too. Start getting cash back at your favorite stores like Levi's, Plow and Hearth, Adidas, Sephora, and Neiman Marcus. Stack sales on top of cash back and feel what it's like to know you're maximizing the savings. And it's easy to use. And you get your cash back sent to you through PayPal or check. The idea is simple. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back. Download the free Rakuten app or go to Rakuten.com to start saving today. It's the most rewarding way to shop. That's Rakuten. Rakuten.com.
It's KFI AM 640, and you're listening to The Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app.
It is the Conway Show. Ding dong, everybody. It is Monday. I don't know why that's important, but people like to know, what's going on out there. All right, we have more crime in Los Angeles. If you live in Encino, Tarzana, Woodland Hills, these are the Valley hotspots. Encino, Tarzana, Woodland Hills, Studio City. Those are the real hotspots. A little bit, I don't even hear a lot of Toluca Lake getting hit. It's mostly up in the hills. And then on the other side of the hill, your 310 areas, your Brentwoods, Pacific Palisades, that whole area. Because those people with money and the people who have no money are tired of having no cash. They're exhausted and they're pissed. And they can find it very easy instead of getting a job, going to college, working their ass off, and may or may not, have any kind of career. They can go into your house and steal all your stuff that you built up, and they can have it and enjoy it tomorrow. And there's really no punishment. When they get caught, a lot of these guys are, they're hooked up and go to jail for, a couple of weeks, couple months. But a lot of times they don't get caught. It happened in Encino. Let's find out what's going on in Encino, California. Ding dong with them out there.
Spoken with several neighbors today who tell me that they are fed up and now they're communicating with one another, trying to come up with ways to make the neighborhood safer and how they can fight back against burglars.
Yes.
This after hearing about yet another home break-in in their neighborhood. Another home was targeted. Take a look at this video from overnight of this latest incident. A helicopter seen over the area near Ventura Boulevard and Firmament Avenue in Encino. Police say residents heard glass breaking. Something may have spooked the burglar or burglars because they took off. No suspect description is available, and it's not clear what, if anything, was taken.
It's amazing. Everyone has cameras, ring cameras, alarm cameras, security cameras, and none of these guys really have been caught. I guess they're good at disguising themselves. They get in, they get out, then they're gone. Back in the by the way, back in the old days, this wouldn't have happened, like before Waze and before Google Maps, because if you went into Encino, you got lost or got into a cul-de-sac pretty quickly, because there's a lot of cul-de-sacs, a lot of dead-end streets, a lot of areas that it's hard to navigate around. But now with Waze and Google Maps, these guys can come into that neighborhood and it's like they live there. The Google and Waze and Google Maps tell them exactly how to get in and get out.
Now, this most recent incident was reported as a hot prowl burglary. Neighbors say that's frightening, that occupants were home at the time. They've been hearing about similar incidents too many times lately and say it's unsettling.
Yeah, it is unsettling. But I bet you anything, a lot of people are keeping their eyes open at night. Did you hear anything? Did you hear anything? Hey, honey, did you hear anything? A lot of that going on in Encino, Tarzana, Woodland Hills, Studio City, Palisades. It's everywhere.
We see you, and I take pictures of their cars, and it's been a big problem here, and hopefully City Councilwoman Nynthia Rahman will help provide.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be right on it. They'll be right on it.
More security on the streets.
It takes a whole village to get this under control. We need our politicians to step up. We need police to step up. We need the DA to step up. People need to be held accountable. This isn't a free ride, you know?
Okay. All right. I get that. This guy's on to something. Let's listen again. Here we go.
It takes a whole village to get this under control.
Okay. All right. What do we need in the village?
We need our politicians to step up.
Okay. One.
We need police to step up.
Okay. Police are stepping up.
DA to step up.
The DA to step up. That's a politician.
People need to be held accountable.
Okay. All right. You know who else needs to be accountable? People who vote. They need to be held accountable. You vote for this crap, then people come into your home and take all your stuff, then you blame everybody else but yourself. You voted the wrong way in the last couple elections. Maybe you got the message to reverse course, and maybe not. That's possible as well. Who knows? But you're also responsible. You guys have to vote the right way. When a guy says, I'm going to be the DA, I'm going to let everybody else, I'm not going to, prosecute a certain type of crime, that opens the floodgates. And it wasn't a mystery. When Jackie Lacey was in office and she said, if this guy Gascon gets in, it's going to be the Wild, Wild West. I think those were exact words. And she was right.
Isn't a free ride, you can't just walk into someone's home and steal.
Neighbors have been talking about trying to hire patrol for our streets.
And that first neighbor you heard, she said that she has been taking photos of suspicious cars in the neighborhood just in case. Now, there's been several break.
Yeah, that's tough to do. I don't know if I would do that, though. You start taking pictures of cars. That can get your ass kicked, too. You can get your ass kicked doing that. Because maybe there's a guy there with his secretary, doesn't want his wife to know, and then all of a sudden you're sniffing around taking photos. I don't know.
She has been taking photos of suspicious cars in the neighborhood just in case. Now, there's been several break-ins reported in the San Fernando Valley in recent days and weeks, including in Sherman Oaks, Encino, and Tarzana. Neighbors tell us they're being vigilant. They're putting in cameras to alarm systems, communicating with other neighbors, and staying aware of suspicious activity or cars driving by that they don't recognize. Basically, all the things that police advise residents to do to stay safe. But despite that, it has happened again and again. Now, take a look at this map of some recent break-ins in the San Fernando Valley. Yeah. LAPD said in Encino alone, break-ins south of the 101 freeway went up 40% in July.
Did you hear that? 40% in July.
40% in July.
Wow, 40%. That's huge.
And citywide residential burglaries were up nearly 4% year to date.
Wait, but I heard Pete Buttigieg over the weekend said crime is down. So, I don't know. Somebody's lying. Either the stats or Pete Buttigieg. But somebody's not telling the truth. Because he said over the weekend on one of those morning shows that it's, nobody gets the information out there, but crime is actually down. Does anybody listening to KFI right now believe that? No.
And citywide residential burglaries were up nearly 4% year to date from the same period last year, according to LAPD. Back here live, some residents say that they have been communicating with one another, and they're talking about adding private security in the neighborhood, which they'll be paying for out of pocket, but they're also calling on their city council to take more action. We've reached out to the council.
Right, let's go real quickly to channel, I think it's channel 9 here. This fire out in San Bernardino is getting huge.
Operational plan, which would open them up to being able to get 25 additional engines into this. Wow. The incident commander said yes. So we'll see if they want all 25, but it at least gives them the option to bring in 25 additional engines. I've also heard radio chatter here about bringing in help from LA County.
The San Bernardino.
Where would those come from?
Yeah,
from San Bernardino?
They've already got.
They're asking for a lot more help.
County, so Riverside's already there. Yeah. They've got mutual aid from within San Bernardino County. So they've got Cal Fire, San Bernardino County Fire. I've heard Ontario Fire involved in this as well. And now it sounds like they are also requesting from LA County Fire. And yeah, now I'm listening to the dispatch. I heard just now probably at least 10 additional engines get dispatched to the fire. So they're really trying to bring in whatever they can. And, there are certain different engines do different things, right? There are brush trucks, there are fire engines, there are ladder trucks.
This fire is radical.
They want the brush rigs to come out here.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back with this fire, give you more information where the San Bernardino fire is happening. They've asked for a lot more help, which means they do not have enough resources, and they are desperately seeking more engines and more help. So if you're on the freeways and you see a big, caravan of fire trucks heading east from Los Angeles, chances are they're going to this San Bernardino fire.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
It's Conway Show. We're going right to these fires here. KCAL is over it. Channel 11 is over it. Channel 7 is over it. What's going on with KCAL? Channel 9, I believe they're high over the these poor homes, these poor people in these homes. Let's turn the volume up. Here we go.
Right over there. Okay. So on that home,
wow,
that was burning, that we've been watching burn now for a very long time, or at least maybe right around the perimeter of it, kind of a surgical operation, because they don't want to eject all of that burning material into the air and have it, fanned by the flames to go burn.
This is in San Bernardino.
Maybe if they can kind of do it around the periphery of the home and stop it from spreading to its neighbor right here.
And really quick, I don't know if in the control room, if we can come to my computer here, I want to show you.
These are massive homes in San Bernardino.
Up in the hills. Google map. So this is the home that we just were watching burn. This is the home right here. This is where that RV was burning. This is the other home that we saw burn. And then this is the home right here that is on fire and is burning very close to this home. That's the one where Desmond was talking about how the garage kind of butts right up against it. So, and then down here, this is that white home where we've watched them kind of do the on the patio, where they've been putting water in on the patio there. So I just wanted to show people kind of what this area looks like from a satellite perspective. And even on the satellite view, you can see how tight these homes are right here and all the shrubs and brushes that are between them. Look at even on this map, there's that RV that burned. Wow. So, yeah, so this has been here for a while.
Yeah, this is radical out here. All right, let's, Steffush, if you could flip over to Channel 4 real quick. I don't know if is 4 on right now. I'm watching it on their website, and they have an unbelievable shot of it. No, they're doing the Olympics. Okay, Channel ABC? Yeah, Channel 5 or 7. ABC Channel 7 is they've got I think it's Brandy Carlos out there, a photojournalist on Channel 7
for a fire department, and then media and photos and videos was just my passion.
It's a bad scene out there in San Bernardino.
Fire department life, and now I work for RMG News also as well, so I do a lot of news coverage. Okay. And I cover all over California, fire season. And like we all know, fire season can be every single month. I've had years where I've gone to fires, from January to up until Christmas Day.
Yeah, we got that.
It's probably going to be a bad year. I know every year they say it's going to be a bad year, but, we've had a lot of rain. We had relatively mild fire seasons the last 2 years, so I think this is just kind of the warm-up to, what we could experience later in the next couple of months, because we don't even have Santa Ana's right now.
I know.
Yeah. Thank God. Yeah.
And that's what I was going to talk to you about, Brandy. Anyone who covers fires, you are going to be very well versed in it. When you go out to cover these fires, for somebody like us, we're watching, and a lot of the viewers are watching this, but fires, they create their own weather within these firestorms. And it's really, can you describe what it's like sometimes when you go in and you're driving there and it's probably kind of calm around you, and then you get into sort of the eye of the storm, because you're so close, you have such access, and obviously the firefighters certainly trust you, but tell us about what you've experienced when you get out, the winds and what have you.
Like you said, you never know. When I leave the house, I never know what I'm kind of getting into. When I first got here to the Edgehill fire, you could see it burning down, coming down the hill into the neighborhoods. Kind of really didn't look like a whole lot. It looked like, maybe
for people, thanks, Steffush. But for people that don't know where this Edgehill fire is, I'll try to nail it for you here. It's essentially where Yamava is. If you go to Yamava and you head maybe 1.5 miles or 2 miles west, that's where this Edgehill fire is, and it's right off there's a freeway, the 210. Which cuts across a lot of Fontana and the San Bernardino Valley, and then if you cross the 15, you cross the 215. That's where this fire is burning. So Highland is close by. It is north of the 10, just north of the 210 as well, I think, or just basically on the 210, and that's where this Edgehill fire is burning. But let's get some more information here. This is an incredible sight to watch this. These poor people who woke up this morning inside that house. had breakfast inside that house, and now they're on TV watching the entire thing burn down. I can't imagine how crippling that is to your psyche. I can't imagine. These poor people who had a beautiful multi-million-dollar home, maybe retired. They worked their ass off to get up into the hills and have this beautiful Spanish-style roof, palm trees around, beautiful big windows and doors, 3-4 car garage, and then to watch it all disintegrate live on TV has to be heartbreaking. Just heartbreaking.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
So, fire burning in San Bernardino, and I'll tell you where this is. It's a little bit further than a mile from Yamava. If you were to drive, it's 5 miles, but as the crow flies, probably closer to 3.5 miles. 3.5, 4 miles west of Yamava Casino, almost exactly parallel. If you were to go to Yamava and just go due west, that's where this fire is. Up in the hills, it's around the 3300 block of Beverly Drive in San Bernardino, up in these small mountains that are right off the 215 freeway, just east of the 215 freeway. And man, are these houses huge, and they are going up. It looks like one after another after another. Let's flip on channel 7 here. They're showing a live shot here.
Timmy, can I just add that about a little bit of traffic in the area? I would imagine a lot of people are trying to self-evacuate right now. And a couple of the main roads, H Street and also West 34th Street, they're very busy right now, especially that H Street. That heads down towards the 210 freeway. And 34th Street looks pretty stacked between Northeast Street and H Street.
Excellent. All right, thank you, Angel Martinez. Let's flip on channel 7 here. And this is a magnificent home here, 2-story, probably 4,000 or 5,000 square feet,
when we first got onto
completely
this,
engulfed in flames.
Water-dropping helicopters had not arrived. So to see them, we know the sort of resource they are to get to some of these fires, because Chris was saying we've been watching it. It's just so difficult to see for the firefighters to get really close. And look at that. That fire is so hot and producing so much smoke, and really toxic smoke as well. But again, we haven't been able to count how many fires, how many homes have gone up, or structures or outhouses, but we know that it is going to be devastating when the smoke clears. But Danny Romero, he's also been watching this and tracking the weather conditions. We know earlier we heard from San Bernardino County Fire, Danny, that on the ground of this fire, it's 109 degrees, and that's not including their fire gear.
Yeah, I mean, they're right on top of that. So we're going to get that real intense heat, especially right around the fire area. Along with that humidity is very, very low. So, man, that really makes it miserable there. We do see that the temperatures right in that 105, 110, 112 range. Pretty much most of the peak heat here in the afternoon.
There's an evacuation center set up at Marshall Elementary School on Marshall Elementary School, which is very, very close to this, where the fire is, down further, closer to the 215. They're using one of these parks here, and they're filling up basically what looks like above ground pools of water. And as the helicopters come by, they dip into these above ground pools and take that water up to try to fight this fire. But these are multi-million-dollar, old school, old money San Bernardino homes that are on fire and burning one after another. And this is devastating for this community. I imagine a lot of these homes were built back in the 20s, 30s, or 40s. And this is devastating for a lot of people out there. Chris Christie was flying over the scene. We'll pick up what Chris Christie says here and see what's going on.
This is just a devastating sight here right along Ridgeline Drive. This entire neighborhood south of Ridgeline Drive now ordered to evacuate. Again, they are using Marshall Elementary School as the evacuation center. At this point, you can see there are several fire crews in this neighborhood and at least one CAL FIRE helicopter overhead making water drops over this residential neighborhood. This fire is surrounding at least a dozen separate residents, and you can see about a half a dozen of those have already been lost. Some very thick black smoke coming from Circle Drive there. You can see one home fully engulfed, a separate home across the way there also fully engulfed, and then a third home.
You really have to see this on TV. They're using Marshall Elementary School, which is just east of where this fire is happening, and north of the 210 freeway off of H Street, as Angel was saying. But the traffic on H Street, you're right, Angel, is unbelievable. And a lot of those people probably are scared to death because there's nothing worse than being stuck in gridlock traffic when a fire is nearby. You just start to panic. So this is a huge story out there.
And then a third home now with active flames coming through the roof of that house. So we have 3 active fires at the very least. There's also an RV that has caught on fire down there. And always remember, behind that black smoke is more property that is on fire. We're coming around the south side now. And I want to give you a little bit of a little help if you're familiar with this area in terms of the area affected. We're talking about the neighborhood south of Ridgeline Drive, north of Beverly Drive, and the group of homes that you see are on fire here are encompassing El Camino Road, Vista Drive, Circle Road, and Hillhurst Drive. These are the dozen or so homes that are in an imminent threat right now. You can see more homes in the way of this fire if this continues the way it is. Again, there are limited resources in this neighborhood right now.
Yeah, and they've been calling for more. They want 10 to 15, maybe 20 more engines, and they are actually even calling LA County Fire and asking for help from them as well. So they're stretched as thin as they could be, and they're calling for Orange County, LA County, San Bernardino County, Riverside to give them a hand with this, because these fires, these homes are going up again, one after another after another.
Plenty more on the way. It's going to take some time to really get effective structure protection in place here. There are some crews already on the scene, but you can see here just a little too late for some of the homes here in the Shandon Hills section of San Bernardino. This is Shandon Hills on the east side of a giant hill that basically has a tendency to create its own wind and weather, if you will, as Brandy was mentioning. Even though it's not a very windy day, the breeze can behave very differently when it bounces up against that terrain there, and you can see that entire hillside has gone up in flames. It's all charred up there as those flames race towards Canyon Terrace Drive at the top of that plateau, and hopefully those will be man-made fire breaks that halt the progress, at least going westward, of this fire. But right now, all eyes are on those homes further east here, as we've counted at least 3 or 4 homes now up in flames, and again, a couple of others that have already burnt to the ground, guys.
Yeah, and they're trying to get this fire. There's a fire line at North Buena Vista Road, which is at the top of that hill, and they're trying to get it to stop there because on the other side of that hill, you have tract homes that are much closer to one another. On North Canyon Terrace there and Canyon Terrace Drive and Ridgeline as well. And if those homes start burning, they're so close together that it'll be a repeat of what we saw in the valley, where it's one after another after another. Thank God. Look, it's hot outside, which is horrible to try to fight this fire. But thank God we don't have 40, 50, 60 mile an hour winds, because that does happen in this part of San Bernardino.
Do you see the guy on KCAL who just ran to his car with the flames behind him? That's
it's unbelievable. And this, if we did have Santa Ana winds, those winds come right out of the desert, right down through the pass there, the 15, and blow 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, this could be a huge disaster if that was happening. So they're in luck there. The humidity is very low. The temperature is very high, and they're asking for help from surrounding counties because they do not have a hold of this fire yet. All right, we're going to keep covering this. The brush fire burning out there. They're calling it the Edgehill fire. It's where the 215 and the 210 meet. And I'm just watching on Channel 7 here, another fire engine pulling up that looks like it's from L.A. County. So it looks like there's the reserves have already come in to try to help them out and to save some of these structures. All right, we're live. Major story here in Southern California, and we are covering it.
You're listening to Tim Conway Jr. on demand from KFI AM 640.
It's Conway Show. We can continue talking about this Edgehill fire. It is burning right off the 210 and the 215 freeway, about 4 miles due west of Yamava Casino. And there are a lot of homes that have been completely destroyed. They've called on help from LA County, I believe Orange County, Riverside County. They need more engines. They need more manpower to get this thing under control. And Steve Krieger is with us, retired captain for LA County Fire. Steve, welcome to the program. How are you, sir?
Hey, Tim, I'm doing good. Ding dong.
Oh, ding dong with you, buddy. This is horrible what we're watching on TV right now. When they put out the bat signal to try to get help from other counties, I imagine they respond pretty quickly, no?
Yes, they do. They send out the request to the region coordinator, which, LA County coordinates for many of the surrounding counties, and they'll send the resources that are available to go out and help out wherever they can.
Are these fire engines that are normally just sitting in the fire station, or do they bring guys in to man these?
No, these are from the local fire stations. So if they need more engines from the nearest counties, they'll immediately send engines, and then additional fire engines then will backfill those empty fire stations.
I see.
So it's a whole logistics thing of getting engines to the fire and then also backfilling those empty fire stations so that there's not a lack of resources in the areas they came from.
And did they work out? I mean, I hate to say this, but everybody, talks about it all the time. The financials of it, or is it just like we owe you, you owe us, or they probably just get in the fire engine, work that crap out later.
Yeah, they work that out later. There's automatic aid, there's mutual aid. Automatic aid is where they just automatically go into other jurisdictions, like the county has with the Forest Service, and then there's mutual aid where they do recover some of the costs depending on the duration of the incident. They cover some of the costs.
We're watching it on Channel 9 right now on KCAL, and these are beautiful, 3,000-4,000 square foot homes that probably have been there for quite some time, and they're just burning up, one after another. And, it's got to be devastating for the families who, again, woke up in that house. All the things that they have collected in their entire lives are in that house, and it's gone in an instant.
Yep, that's absolutely correct. But as they're older homes, they probably don't have the hardening that you would need that the newer homes have as far as they probably have the bigger screens on their vents to keep birds and rats out of their attic, but embers can get right through there. So you notice some of these homes look like they're burning from the inside, not from the outside, because that attic becomes like a wind tunnel, and it just sucks those embers in there. So they need to do things to keep the embers from going into those attic vents to prevent the attic from catching on fire. Because once the attic gets going on fire and they have limited resources, there's not a whole lot to stop that house from burning down.
Steve Krieger is with us, former or retired LA County fire captain. Steve, I was born and raised in the San Fernando Valley. And in the last 25 years, we've been on, at KLSX, then here at KFI. And we've been saying this for, 25 years, and I still haven't seen any change. But I still can't believe in Southern California, up in the hills, up in the mountains, they still allow people to grow palm trees that become a human or become a Roman candle with all the embers flying around. I still can't believe they allow that type of tree up in the hills.
It's very difficult to deal with those because those dead palm fronds burn like crazy, and they drop embers all around the area.
Sure.
Before we had completely enclosed cab fire engines, the embers from those used to burn up our seats and our jump seats. When you them, and they're very hard to put out because some of them are so tall the hose strings can't reach the tops of those palm trees. You almost have to have a ladder truck come out to get the tops of those palm trees because they're just very difficult to put out, and those little flying embers from those will go quite a ways. And it looks like they have a little bit of wind there in San Bernardino right now.
Yeah, it's horrible. All right, Steve, let me put you on hold here. Hopefully you can stay with us. Steve Krieger, retired L.A. County fire captain. We're watching these homes burn in the Edgehill fire right off the 210 and the 215 freeway for people trying to get their bearings of where this is. It's about 4 miles due west of Yamava Casino, right off the 259, the 215, and the 210 freeway. We are going to cover this until they've got a hold of this fire, and it looks like they're doing a much better job. We see less homes burning and more white smoke, which is a good sign. We're live on KFI AM 640.
Conway Show on demand on the iHeartRadio app. Now, you can always hear us live on KFI AM 640, 4 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and anytime on demand on the iHeartRadio app.